Hey guys, it's Adrienne with the Mama Bear Effect. So today I want to talk to you about something that has been on my mind a lot, and it's something that is a priority to me when we produce prevention education materials, when we wrote our book, when we create PSAs to share on social media. And it's the idea of whether or not we can teach children to protect themselves from sexual abuse. And when I say that, I mean the mentality that children um, either should say no or can't say no. There's kind of two camps. There's the, if we teach children that they must say no, it's often the mentality of sticking your hand out, say no, run and tell. So it's yell, run, tell. That will protect them from sexual assault, and that we'll be able to protect children in the first place from it ever happening. I don't believe that is very effective. I don't think we've seen much research at all showing that has actually helped protect kids. In speaking with survivors of child sexual abuse who have been taught body safety, I think what we've learned is that when children are taught that is what they must do, we are putting a significant amount of responsibility and pressure on that child to protect themselves. And they're the ones being targeted by someone who is often stronger than them, older than them, smarter than them, someone that has invested time grooming them or isn't taking advantage of a situation where they have trust with that person. So to expect a child to suddenly understand what's going on and yell no into that person, it could be a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be a trusted mentor, that's not going to happen. That's not very realistic. And just to know that even one child didn't tell because they felt it was their fault, they felt they were responsible for what happened because they had been taught to say no, that was their job to say no, I don't think that that's anything that we should risk putting on any child. So when we talk about what kids can do, we say that yes, you can say no to someone if they're touching you inappropriately, but it is not your job to say no. You can run away from that person. It's not your job to run away from that person. We would want you to tell someone right away. As soon as you are comfortable to tell someone, we want you to tell someone, but this is something we say very often. It is never too late to tell. It is never too late to tell. Because I look at this as a mother. I look at this as a survivor. I look at this as someone who has spoken with many survivors and has done a lot of research, specifically on even adult sexual assault, that teaching even adults who have military combat training and have experienced sexual assault. I read a really interesting article about this last year that we shared. I'll see if I can find it for you. Even people who have been taught hand-to-hand combat and self-defense did not have the skills to protect themselves from sexual assault. And the psychological reason is because you have to have the muscle memory to be able to respond to that. So if you take a self-defense class and all of a sudden someone comes out in the boogeyman costume, you're ready to jump into action. What the training they're not receiving is that sexual assault is often in a situation where you're vulnerable. It's often by someone that you trust. There's no muscle memory there. So you're not prepared for that situation because you've never been in that situation before and had that mentality of, okay, this is what I'm going to do if something like that happens. So even with adults, it's really not effective. So it's really time for us, in my opinion, to get rid of any kind of language that we put on children that makes them feel like it's their fault. As a mother, my first goal is to let my children know that I will always believe them. Even running this organization, I cannot say with 100% guarantee that I will be able to protect my children from ever being sexually abused. And I know a lot of times we've had parents reach out to us, and it really hurts me for them when they'll say, well, I taught my child body safety and it happened to them anyway. My mentality about teaching my kids body safety is not because I think it's never going to happen. I teach them body safety because on the chance that it does happen, my first priority is not that I'm going to give them the skills to protect themselves, because I don't think that's realistic. My first goal is to teach my children that it is not their fault. That what's happening to them is inappropriate, It's not something that's their fault. What's happening to them needs to be told to someone so that we can help them. But even if it happens to them, it's not their fault. If it happens once or it happens 100 times, it's not their fault. If they tell me right away, great, I'll be so proud of them. But if they don't tell me for a year, if it happened over and over and over again, or if it only happened once and they were just too uncomfortable to talk about it, it's still not their fault. I will still believe them. And I think that's something I believe every child deserves, is to know that they can tell someone something and they're not going to have to prove that it happened to them. They're not going to be faced with someone saying, so-and-so would never do that, or when did that happen? I was always watching you. Children don't deserve that. Children deserve to even if that child was lying. On the very rare case, people think that children lie about sexual abuse often. It's really not that often that children lie about sexual abuse. It's more often that children will lie that they weren't sexually abused. And what we want to do is we want to be there for our children. We want to connect with them. We want them to know that their worth is so much more than anything that happens to them. So as a parent, my goal is not to help them stop a sexual assault. My goal is to help them heal from a potential sexual assault and identify what sexual assault is so that they know. Because oftentimes the innocence of children is used against them. They don't know what's inappropriate until it's too late a lot of times. And then they look back and say, no one taught me about this. This must be something I'm not supposed to talk about. Or I never did anything about it and now it's too late. It's not too late. So even if you're a parent to adult children and you never talk to them about body safety or sexual assault, it's not too late. Because I know in my years of experience doing this organization for 7 years now, is that I still have survivors of child sexual abuse who have not disclosed to their parents, who are afraid of what their parents might say or think or what it's going to mean for their family. So I think we can all take a moment and think, what is most important in our family? For me, it's for my children to know that I will always love them and that they are always special. And I hope your children feel that way as well. Thanks so much for your time. I hope you appreciated it. Please visit our website for more information and resources on talking to your kids and other adults about preventing child sexual abuse and supporting survivors. Thanks so much.